All right, hold on, because last week we had pay to pay to win Phil, and all right, Joe, you said last week that you did not see Phil Spencer lasting too much longer as the head of Xbox, and out of nowhere, yesterday I parked my car here, right? I turn off my car and I look at my phone and I see this alert like 2 minutes ago, and it's the alert from Bloomberg saying that Jim Ryan, Sony's Interactive Entertainment CEO, is quote unquote retiring. I say quote unquote. Um, well, I'll be a little bit more specific. But I texted you right away
Yeah,
as
you
I
texted me
saw.
right away.
I was like,
I didn't see it until you texted me. Yeah,
yeah, I texted you right away, and you were like, "Yo, what?"
I was
So
shook, bro.
yeah, so Jim Ryan is retiring. Um, so I say quote unquote because Jim's been there since day one. Like he was there when like Sony Interactive Entertainment of America, or Interactive Entertainment Europe, because he was Europe first, and then he moved into to corporate. Um, he's been there since the beginning, right? And he was the PR guy, and he's always been out there. So he's been with Sony 30 years, or PlayStation more specifically, right? 30 years, and he's retiring, right? That's great. Like I see it like that. But Joe, but and here's my huge but, because he's retiring, but he's retiring next March, but his duties end the end of this month. Um, so basically, he's this is what's going to happen to Kathleen Kennedy at the end of October.
Whoa.
It's like her duties are going to end end of fiscal year, end of October at Disney, but she's going to retire August of next year when her contract is up.
I don't want it to be a whole nother year, though. Oh
No,
my
but the
gosh.
duties are done. Like
But you're probably right, though.
duties are going to be done. So,
You're
Jim
probably
was
right.
forced into retirement, in my opinion.
Oh, hot take. Here we go.
Okay. He not only failed to stop the Xbox acquisition fire sale that was going on, um, he did not make any significant moves to secure uh, properties for Sony. Um, and I think the nail in the coffin was a few weeks ago when Phil Spencer showed up with the Square Enix guys saying, "Yeah, we're gonna bring more stuff to Xbox." I think that was it, dude. I think that was it.
Mm.
And you know, the failure of not being able to stop, the Activision stuff and even the Bethesda stuff. Like I would have fought for that, right? Again, like I mentioned last week, I don't care, but as a you know business minded individual, that's what you would try to do. So uh, he he was unable to protect his territory. They're still they're still doing better than Xbox, right?
For real.
But you gotta do stuff, bro. You just can't
Yeah.
sit back there and say, we have Spider-Man, we have all this stuff, we have these things coming out. You gotta move, right? Because then, I think he was too complacent to where he was just like, yeah, we're on top. We don't really need to go and do this stuff, right? And I think that didn't sit well with the CFO, who is going to be taking over. So, um, So the CFO Hiroki Totoki, and he is not only the he is the CEO, COO, and CFO for Sony corporate. Like this guy is he's the number two guy in Sony,
Yeah.
and he's taking over. He's basically taking over PlayStation. So, um, from what I've read, he's been in with Sony since like '87, so it's been a long time. Um, but he's a very numbers driven, very assertive, very business minded individual. So, um, I think the acquisitions are coming
Wow.
because he's the CFO. Like when you give control of your company, where you of your division to the CFO, it's because Sony is getting ready to open the wallet and start doing stuff. Um, you know, I kind of feel bad for Jim Ryan. I don't think he's a bad guy.
Yeah, I
I've
agree.
I've when I know that there was a collective from everyone, right? But it's I don't think he's a bad guy, and I've been critical of him, and I when he took over, you can go back and listen
Mm-hmm.
to that show, and I was like, I don't think he's the right choice, and from day one, I thought that, and I Jim, he is not a business. He was not a business guy. He is a PR guy, right? He was great showing off the new stuff, but I don't think he was particularly good making business decisions for PlayStation. Um, I think the that price hike on PS Plus, I,
Yeah.
I don't know where this came from, right? I don't know if it was Totoki or if it was Ryan, right? But that was a bad move that soured. Like I think that soured. Like if the Square Enix uh like stuff with Xbox was the nail in the coffin for from the corporate perspective. I think the price hike, the PS Plus price hikes, and having it be so quick was the nail in the coffin with the fans. So a lot of stuff going on. I think I think he was forced into retirement. He is saying that Toki's going to be there as an interim CEO, right, until they figure it out. But I think he's gonna be buying stuff and then handing it to someone else. If Sony is smart, I would okay,
Uh,
hear me out.
let loose,
If
bro.
Sony's smart, I would go back and freaking wrangle Andrew House back in.
Oh my gosh, that's a
I
big
would
move.
just like, yo,
Would
bro.
he come back?
I For the right amount of money, he probably would.
Sounds like a Bob Iger situation.
Yeah, yeah. Because I
House
mean,
was incredible.
he was the best. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I don't know. I don't know. I heard a really good comment on Reddit today. I was like, let's just go ahead and bring back Phil Harrison and just have it end, have him ended.
That's funny, bro. Oh my gosh. Not
bring back
Harrison.
bring back Phil Harrison and have him end it all. um, yeah, man. This is gonna be a really interesting 6 months for PlayStation, for Sony in general, right? Um, but yeah, dude, what do you think?
I'm just looking up like what is House doing right now?
Oh, Andrew House.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is
I mean,
he
he said he was gonna
is he
retire
retired? Is he literally just living, in a cottage somewhere?
in the cabin. It's like Tony Stark on the lake
Right?
house, and then they're gonna
Hey,
show up
he
in the
gives me the little Tony Stark, I can
yeah.
see that.
They're gonna show up to his house. And it's like, yo, we we need to invent a time
We
machine.
need Oh,
So
that's good. That's good.
yeah,
I, I I'm I this is another conflicted story because I like Jim. I don't know. There's something about the way Jim did it that like even just his public stance on like we're fine, we're good, let the competition have their fun. The part
let
of
him
it I actually
cook.
kind of like. A part that I kind of liked, right? Because like it was a confidence in not being
It was
super
laid back.
reactionary to
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Where like some companies would be like, we're on top of, we're just gonna go crazy and we're gonna change the
Like
system. We're
Phil
gonna
Spencer. He's
like
very
Phil
reactionary.
Spencer.
Yeah,
He does it. He starts going. They start
yeah,
changing stuff, going crazy,
yep,
and then you're like you start ruining things because you don't realize what you already have was good. People would rather you stay pat
yep.
than mess it up. Like a sport, it's like a sports team. You have a really good team, and then maybe your opponent, another team right down in another state gets a whole all of a sudden gets a super team, and you go, well, they're
Oh,
much better than we are.
I gotta go
We
start
got to blow
dismantling
up my
everything.
team
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Like that's not the way to do it. That never ends good. Like that's what I kind of liked about like Jim. Like he wasn't that kind of guy.
hmm
And I respected that. His PR stance too was different. It was interesting, right? But I love all the points you brought up because even in the whole not being reactionary, it's very telling the way someone's response is in major moments as a business, like what they would do, further down the line if they were in another circumstance. And I'm just saying, like, he had the benefit of, well, thankfully PlayStation is as a company in a good position. They're not hurting. They're getting their sales. They're doing just fine. They had the privilege of not having to be super reactionary. What Microsoft did is they really said we're going to try and buy our way back into the game, and that's what we joked about, last week about all of that,
yeah,
right? But to some extent, I get it, right? Their execution hasn't been all that there, but the concepts I get. And imagine like in a situation where maybe PlayStation was just as a company not at doing as well. What kind of reaction would Ryan do? I don't think he was prepared for a returning fire in essence in the industry.
yeah.
And then like you brought out like the example of the PS Plus stuff, like that was a huge just bomb. Like
That
that
was a bad misstep, dude,
that
all
was a
around it.
bad misstep. And I just feel like the trend there was basically like, hey, if you keep up this pattern, we are gonna slowly start to nosedive. So let's make sure we change things up now. And I think that's the right timing to do it.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Jim a little bit, but because some people were acting like he was horrible. I don't think he was,
No, no, no.
but I do think that there's a point to your saying, like how his business choices, like they just couldn't risk it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. He was too laid back, which was interesting, right? Because he has always been very aggressive talking to,
Right.
like when he was out there back in the PS3 days, right? Defending the price of the PS3, and and then who was like, oh, why, this thing's backwards compatible. It's like, what do you think? What do you want it to be backwards compatible? You want to play that ugly looking game that, you know,
Yeah, he was
oh, he
aggressive.
was very aggressive when it came to marketing because that was his thing, right?
Yeah.
But I think, wise man said, your overconfidence is your weakness. so,
I wonder who
so,
said that.
yeah, yeah. Um, and I think that's
He was probably laid back
he
because
was too laid back.
he probably was ready to retire.
Yeah,
Like you say forced retirement, but I don't it's not probably as forced as like, hitting your resignation. Like I think it was like a mutual they probably had a talk.
yeah,
They probably had a talk like this is the best for all of us involved.
yep. Um,
He
man,
don't care. He's chill, man. He's laid back. He's gonna go,
could it's
close out his
like
thing. He's
come
good.
out of nowhere, like Hideo Kojima CEOs. No, I doubt it. I doubt it.
Oh my goodness, dude.
He's independent. He's doing his thing. He's traveling
He's
the
not
world and hanging out with Mads Mikkelsen and and disguise and
He's a creative first. He's not as
yeah,
much, he's not a super businessman. Like he's done great with business, but yeah.
yeah. But like going back, right? Who do you think would be a good match for that role? Could Sony be eyeing? I don't know. Would Shuhei be a good person for that role? Like because he's like more of a developer relationship kind of guy.
Yeah, could be interesting. I'm not opposed to the idea of it. I don't yeah,
Let's
Shuei, yeah,
yeah,
you
let's look
bring you
up.
should in.
Hold on. Let's see. PlayStation executives.
It's got
Place.
to be within the company. So that's why you're throwing out these names is fair.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we got Ryan, but that's not there anymore. I don't think Mark Cerny would be good. Mark Cerny is more of a
No, no.
he is
I love
he's
Mark.
I
I love
love
him.
Mark Cerny to death, dude.
Absolutely.
He's just a math guy. Like he is a
Imagine being in a meeting with that guy.
but and I mean
It
this
would be
I mean this in an endearing way. He's a huge nerd. So, and
that's a real nerd.
that's a real nerd, dude. So, you know, I think he probably stay in the more of the design kind of, you know,
They'll keep him in the basement.
yeah, keep him in the basement, designing new hardware,
Sorry.
you know, and architecture and all that. But yeah, like I'm looking at the executive team right now. I don't see anyone that could immediately um do that. I mean, unless they bring someone from the outside, honestly. And but then at this you know again you start running into what if it's Phil Harrison, right?
Right, right. Which like Microsoft right now, the Xbox, that's my advice to them. Go get somebody outside. Like go try and get like Kojima, go try and get you know what I'm saying? Like they need somebody to throw that thing up and change it and
Oh
do it
man,
different and bring some new life in. But no, man, they don't need that at PlayStation. Just need
it's
somebody a little more passionate.
yeah, yeah, and again I think you know they I think that once they figure out so I think that Totoki is gonna be very he's gonna be the reaction guy. Like
Yeah,
he's probably will in the next few months. Don't get shocked if PlayStation comes in and buys two or three big Japanese developers. Like
yeah.
you know, don't be surprised if like Sega and Square Enix and don't you know don't or Capcom
Wow.
don't get shocked, right?
Wow.
You know, don't get shocked. But Hideki Kamiya just left Platinum this week too. Like he's resigning. You know what? Crazier thing. You know, you got the creator of Bayonetta as your dude, and Kamiya's crazy. He'll block you on Twitter or whatever, right? Everyone's blocked, but um, he's a character that I think fans could get behind, right? And you know, he ran his studio. He ran it well. I think that Kamiya's leaving because um, Platinum's not. It became something else. It became. I don't think that this was the plan that they had for Platinum initially, right? Um, I think the last true Platinum game that was released was probably near Automata. You know,
Yeah.
honestly speaking, no Bayonetta 3. You know, for Switch that came out what last year? Yeah, yeah, that was
Did.
yeah. So you know, Bayo 3 was probably the last, and I mean, who knows, right? But looking around right now, I mean, is PlayStation ready for new blood? Then are they gonna pull a Nintendo with Reggie, right, and bring someone from a non-video game company and run
Oh
it?
yeah.
You know, are they gonna bring Bob Chapek in? And,
Stop.
and
Don't put that out there. Don't put that out there. Don't you do that. You thought that those price hikes on PS Plus were bad.
Oh
Oh
no!
boy.
He's gonna
Wait till you
start.
find out that the PS6 is now gonna be a $900 console because it's a superpowered machine and you'll pay for it because he'll make you pay for it.
it's it's $15 to charge your controller
Yes.
at a certain hour in the day.
PS Plus is mandatory to even turn
Oh.
your console on. Like some kind of dude, don't put that out there with some Bob Chapek. You
No,
know, my goodness,
I don't
bro.
think Bob's a good fit. Dude? Bob ran consumer products like a well-oiled machine, right?
That's what I'm saying. It's all about the money.
I don't know,
He
dude.
needs
I don't
someone.
know.
He needs someone above him to tell him that's
Oh,
nice. You're
true.
here. That's a good,
Yeah,
good boy. But
yeah.
let's
He's like
let's
James
keep this
Gunn.
not
He's like,
looking too.
yeah,
He's like James Gunn.
he's like James Gunn.
You you got
um,
something. Let's not get too
bro.
wild now.
But like, if you like, if you look outside, right? It's like who you could potentially bring someone from another company, right? But
James Cameron, the Avatar machine.
yeah, at this point they should go for someone
Yeah.
younger that can give them at least good 15 years. No,
So
honestly speaking, dude.
so they can hire me.
Yeah, no, we're available. Yeah, we'll run the place. We're good. You know, we'll make it happen. We'll start with putting PS
So
Plus the way it was before.
somehow PlayStation and no load time just merges completely, and people accusing us of the Sony money.
Yeah, it's like, I know that these
That's
guys were chills all along, and
they sold themselves out.
yeah,
We're
so
having
stuff.
fun, guys. We're having fun. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. That could be Don Matrick. It's like, no, man. I think PlayStation's it's ready for new blood. I mean,
Yeah.
if you ask me, right, there's got to be someone. I don't know. I think Herman Hulst is a good candidate. Because he's a games guy, right? But he's not a business person necessarily. So
Yeah.
um, it's kind of like the thing with Phil Spencer, right? Where Phil's the games guy, but then he was giving a ton of money. And it's like every time when your parents give you a ton of money, right, and you're the gamer guy, what do? Buy a bunch of games, and that's
Right.
exactly what he did, right?
Right.
So I think you need to be a little bit wiser on how you approach your reaction to what Xbox is doing,
Yeah.
but you know it's gonna be really interesting, man. It's gonna be really interesting, and we'll find out soon. I mean, sooner or later, we'll find out who the real successor would be. But it's gonna be an interesting 6 months because things are gonna happen.
Absolutely.
I put a shrimp again that within the next 6 months, Sony's gonna make a huge move.
You're putting another. Oh
I'm
my
putting
God,
another
Doc, you
shrimp, dude.
now a shrimp on the line. I mean,
I'm
you
putting,
couldn't have done the
he's writing.
pineapple
He's
with the
taking
pizza
notes.
again.
Yep.
I'm putting it out there,
Yep.
man.
I'll do it again. I will eat one of those cute Star Wars guys that
Ooh.
from planet whatever, because
In the next 6 months.
the next 6 months we're gonna get like PlayStation's gonna buy this thing. It's like
That's
it's
what
gonna
until
they're
like
gonna
March
start
of
buying
next
stuff
year.
until March of next year.
March.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.